Welcome, you nutsacks, to TP For Your Earholes. My name is Patrick Schmidt. I'm one of the two hosts of this show.
That's right, and I am Charlene Schmidt, the other host.
And today, we're getting into a topic that I have been really excited to talk about. It's something that's been on my mind since well before we started this podcast, and that is the unseen world in Beavis and Butt-head. What are the scenes we never get to see, the places we never get to see, the unanswered questions. And I'm really excited for that, and I hope my co-host is too.
Yes, I am excited, and you have been so jazzed on wanting to do this topic for so long. I don't know how you've contained yourself, but I'm glad we're doing it now. This is going to be the first show of 2026, and I think we're kicking it off with a good start.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. And it's 2026 now, so hopefully you've made some New Year's resolutions, and hopefully one of those resolutions is to support your local podcast.
Hey, good one.
We would love for you to be able to take advantage of that resolution. Follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're at TP For Your Earholes on all of those platforms. So follow us, reach out, keep up with our latest updates, get notified as soon as our newest episodes come out. So we hope you can join us there.
I also want to add that the interaction, the comments that you have all been putting on YouTube especially have been so awesome. It's like little Christmas presents. Every time we open up YouTube and we see, oh, somebody's made a comment. What did they say? Which episode are they talking about? And so I just want to give a shout out to all of you who've been doing that. Thank you. And please keep it up. We love this.
Also, you can find us at tpforyourearholes.com, where you can always find the latest episodes, but also our whole back catalog and our contact form for reaching out to us directly. And also, sometimes we'll talk about things during the show and we'll say, oh, we'll put a link. That's where you can find all that kind of stuff.
As well as the show notes, but it's probably easier to get them through our website as links. So, nice idea to point that out.
So let's dive into this topic with a preface.
Okay.
I think we need to explain what the unseen world is, because a real key important thing in humor that sometimes not seeing something is more funny than seeing something. And really letting your imagination run wild with possibilities can be extremely fun and even more funny than having it spelled out for you. And I want to give Mike Judge some credit here. I want to give the writers some credit here. I want to give the producers some credit here. They haven't shown us everything, and that is a good thing. We're not here saying, oh, they should have shown us. No, we're saying thank you for not showing so we can let our imaginations go where we might want them to go.
Precisely. This isn't, why did they not do this? It's no, there were some choices made, especially on things we're going to discuss right away, that make the world a lot funnier.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here to celebrate these choices. And I think one of the biggest ones right off the bat.
Yeah.
We never, ever, ever meet Beavis and Butt-head's parents.
Yes. This is the biggie, the massive enchilada.
Yeah. If you thought we were going to hold off on this one, we're not. We're diving into the
Nope.
biggest, most obvious, unseen, hidden piece of this show. And that is, what in the world are these parents like? And how did they raise children like Beavis and Butt-head?
How did they have children, period? I mean, it just...
I don't know.
Life always finds a way, doesn't it?
And we should be clear here that allegedly throughout the entire series, we've only seen maybe a part of Beavis's mom's arm.
That's it.
That's all we've gotten. Now, allegedly in Beavis and Butt-head Do America, we may have seen their dads.
It's implied that we should accept this as their fathers, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the resemblance is pretty uncanny. I think even without doing a DNA test, we can confirm, yeah, that's them.
So those Motley Crue roadies turned drifters are probably the father figures who Beavis and Butt-head never had.
Father figures, for sure.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot to be said for, again, not being able to know much about them. So what do we think they were like? What do you think Beavis and Butthead's parents were like?
Starting with the fathers, I think the big commonality that Beavis and Butthead have with them is that their fathers seem much like the type that simply got a lot of lucky breaks through life. Like, how did they become Motley Crue roadies? We don't know that story. We're never going to learn that story, most likely. But somehow they were able to eke out just enough of a living to do something with their lives, to earn enough money to do whatever until they're doing whatever they are doing in the high desert when we catch up to them.
Sure.
And Beavis and Butthead sometimes have that kind of dumb luck, too.
Yeah.
Now, as for the moms, well, I have a lot of questions.
I do, too. I'm with you on that.
Like, number one, Beavis and Butthead's moms. Did they grow up together? Are they like Beavis and Butthead, just a generation older where they spent all of their time together? They managed to score right about the same time and have their kids about the same time? That sort of thing. Like, it's fun to just think about all the possibilities, right? Of who they were, what they were doing. Why in the world did they have children except, of course, they scored and it was an accident.
And I think a big part of that, too, could be that these two mothers did not know each other at all. And they're linked by Beavis and Butthead becoming friends.
Ooh.
I think that's much more of an interesting potential subplot where these two have nothing to do with each other, didn't know each other, or knew each other very vaguely. And then all of a sudden their paths cross because their sons' paths cross. I think that's another potential thing that's out there.
That's a fascinating idea I have never thought of. And that begs a really important question. In that case, where did Beavis and Butthead meet?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's implied that they knew each other before school started. And we see them in flashbacks as little kids knowing each other before kindergarten. But how did that happen?
So was this daycare? Or later on, we're going to discuss church?
Yeah.
And was it something like that? The playground? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. Now, we should acknowledge that in later iterations of the show, and particularly in the second movie, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, we do learn about Shirley Beavis.
We finally learn her name, for starters.
Yes, and we learn that Beavis's name is his last name.
Yes.
Which, yeah, and that's great. So we do know that Shirley is canon now.
For sure.
And I love that. I think there's a nod to Airplane there.
Don't call me Shirley.
And I think that there's really something to be said for the absenteeism, right? That these are absent parents, and not only absent from the show, but absent as parents. And I think that that's incredibly smart writing, that they don't show up because they are absentee parents.
Totally. How in the world could you raise children like Beavis and Butthead if you were an involved parent? It just would not turn out this way.
No.
So they have to be gone. And apparently, the big thing we know about Beavis's mom is that she's a slut.
Yeah, and she likes to drink at the Merlin Lounge, right?
Yes. Yes. So it seems like her life revolves around going around, meeting men, having a good time, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, and that's sadly for, I think, some people not far from reality, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. And we do know that Shirley Beavis has had some boyfriends off and on. Beavis has mentioned, he's made some passing references to stuff like that.
Right.
So maybe she's trying to have more committed relationships at various points in her life, but maybe it's not working out so well.
And I think we ought to also acknowledge here that Beavis and Butthead, in addition to their parents, we don't see any other family, right? We don't see siblings. We don't see aunts and uncles. We don't see grandparents. We don't see anyone else. It's just those two. And again, it kind of goes back to Beavis's mom, Shirley Beavis, which it's weird to me that Beavis has no siblings because we know his mom is a slut.
You would think.
And no shame, but just surprising.
No, that's sort of how it works, right? You have a lot of sex, you're probably going to make some babies, unless, and here is a theory I have.
Okay.
Unless she got her tubes tied.
You know, they mention tube tying a lot.
Yeah, is that why?
I wonder if that's a thing, where they've just been exposed to that and been exposed to it more than just through the media, right? They've been exposed to it in their lives somehow, which I find hilarious.
Yes, I made that connection and said, yes, that is my headcanon answer as to why. And there's a whole story there where Shirley Beavis gives birth and the doctor just says, hey, do you never want to do this whole thing again? I'll take care of it for you right now. And she agrees, and the doctor feels like he's doing a job for humankind.
That's the episode we missed. So is the tube tying the pilot episode of Shirley and whatever Butt-head's mom's name is?
Right? We don't even know that about Butt-head's mom.
We could call them Shirley and Laverne.
It's gotta be Laverne and Shirley. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is maybe the prequel show we didn't know we needed until now.
Shirley and Laverne in Tubes Tied. Oh, yeah.
I love this. It completely takes away the whole idea that Shirley and Butthead's mom did not know each other prior to having kids. But you know what? I think we have to drop that now. This is a better idea.
Yep. Let's absolutely embrace that. And I do think it's worth noting that there have been fan theories that Beavis and Butt-head might be related, might be half siblings, might be cousins. And I don't think we can rule that out either. I think we at least need to acknowledge that that's a possibility. They might be cousins or half siblings or something like that too. That's definitely within the realm of possibility. But again, I'm glad we don't know. It's more fun to speculate.
Yeah, it's funner not to know.
Yeah.
Sort of like now what's going through my head, which is we will probably never learn Butthead's mom's name.
No.
It's okay. And in my head, I'm just at this point going to call her Laverne.
I'm down with that. I'm glad to have started this trend.
Yeah. Now, as far as other relatives and whatnot go, I think Butthead mentioned one uncle, Richard Head.
Oh, yeah.
And Beavis, I think Beavis at one point mentioned his grandmother.
Okay.
But how involved any of these people are in their lives seems, well, like the mom's absent.
Right. So, yeah, Beavis's grandma has blue kind of purple hair.
That's right. She's Marge Simpson, but about 20 years older.
Yeah. So I have another question for you.
What's that?
Whose house are they watching all this TV in?
It's such a good question, right?
And I ask because my headcanon has something very specific, but I don't think it's actual show lore. I don't think it's in the big book of the show whose house it is. But I think that is without a doubt 100% Beavis's house.
As in Shirley Beavis's house? Because that is the one tidbit we have learned more recently.
Right. And even before learning that recently, I was just like, okay, this is Beavis's house. Beavis lives here. Butthead doesn't live here. And yeah, that's always was my headcanon. Now, what was your take on it? Especially like in the original run, what was your take?
In the original run, especially, my thought was that, yeah, it is Beavis's house, but Butthead practically lives there. Like, he stays the night there. He doesn't really go to his house, wherever that is.
Yes, I think that's a good way of putting it too. But I always felt like it was Beavis's house. Now, there are passing references throughout the series where Butthead makes references to like his bedroom or his bed or something like that. And another piece of the unseen world, and this is sort of where I'm going with this idea, is their bedrooms. You know, this place where they allegedly spend a third of their lives.
Allegedly.
We really don't get to see it. We only see it once. And that is, I think, a mistake. Because it's in the episode Scientific Stuff when Daria comes over to work with Beavis and Butt-head on a science fair project or whatever. And it was so early in the series, I don't think that the writers had realized yet that maybe that was something that was best left to our imaginations. I think if they could take that back, they would.
I think you're right. I think if maybe the show had a little more planning put into it, they would see that and reject the idea.
But for those of you who haven't seen scientific stuff, it is revelatory to see whose ever room it is. It's implied, I think, that it's Butthead's room. But again...
yeah, we don't know for sure.
It's interchangeable. And we see an AC/DC poster. We see a Hindenburg poster. If you don't know what the Hindenburg is, oh, the humanity.
Yeah.
We see a mounted moose head with a plunger on its nose. There is a small cactus on a chest of drawers. There are a variety of stains and rips on a pink carpet. And it looks like absolute hell.
Of course it does. Of course it does, just like the rest of the house. But who's to say Butthead does not have a room at Beavis's house if they're basically growing up together? They're practically, they are living together, possibly.
Yeah. And that's the only time we ever see it. And I think if they could take it back, we wouldn't have seen that. We wouldn't have seen that room because we never see it again.
So we could just brain bleach all of that out.
Yeah.
And pretend like it didn't happen. And so there's all sorts of configurations that could be happening here. Is maybe Butthead does have a room, Beavis has his own room, or they sort of like share a room. One person sleeps on the couch, the other sleeps on the bed every now and then, or not. Anything goes.
I think it might be catch as catch can. They sleep where they can, when they can.
Here's another thought, is maybe Shirley Beavis owns this house, but do Shirley Beavis and Butthead's mom live in this house together along with their kids?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. It's entirely possible. I mean, again, anything's possible, and it's really fun to imagine that, right? That these two women and their two sons are sharing this house together, but the women, as the mothers, are hardly ever there, and the two of them just have the run of the house, right? Beavis and Butt-head are just in charge, as it were, which is obviously a mistake. But
of course,
this is how all these things happen. No supervision.
Which leads me to believe that, and I've made this declaration before, that Beavis and Butthead's moms are like Lolita and Tanqueray, just in a previous generation, where they were probably left to their own devices. And therefore, they wouldn't have a freaking clue how to parent.
Right.
Because they weren't parented themselves, and the cycle continues.
Rip humanity.
It's all gone to hell.
So another quick thing that I'd like to mention that we really don't get to see much of is in Burger World. And this is a very quick offshoot. I'd love to see the manager's office in Burger World. Just a little thing, like we see the kitchen, we see the front, we have a whole episode dedicated to the bathroom.
Yes, we do.
We see the drive-through all the time, but we never really see this guy's office. Like,
what is he doing in there?
What in the world is happening in that office that's so much more important than actually helping Beavis and Butt-head do what needs to be done?
Why is this manager trusting them to actually do work? And I think the actual answer, if we were ever shown it, would scare us.
That's true. Yeah, there's got to be something in that office that is...
we don't want to know what he's doing in there.
No, it's got to be so much more appealing, and that makes me just cringe.
I'd almost rather see the back room freezer area where they're storing all of the food and see what a mess that is.
Good call. Another unseen place is, and I think this is something that I have been very, very curious about for 30 years now, is Beavis and Butt-head in church.
Yes. This is a thing that comes up every now and again, right?
It is. It's something they mention quite a bit, and I was kind of rolling my brain through the episodes, and the only time I can remember them actually being in church was the episode where they kind of crash a wedding.
Oh, right.
And,
Howard?
Yeah.
Who's Howard?
Howard.
Love that.
I think that's the only time we see them in a church in the original run. And I find that fascinating and super, super, super interesting because there are numerous references, especially in the music videos, to Beavis and Butt-head going to Sunday school.
Yeah, and attending services.
Yeah, when they were little kids, they were churchgoers and they know some worship songs and they are familiar with the stories from the Bible. That fascinates me that they have that background and we just never get a chance to see it. We sort of hear bits and pieces of it, but we never get to see it.
Solid call. Yeah, it really wasn't until the revival that we saw Beavis going from various places of worship because of the Jesus nacho.
Yes. What a great episode.
I love that episode, by the way. So that brings up some interesting questions, right? Like, who took them to church? How long were they going? What kind of a church did they go to? And why are they not going anymore if they liked it? Because it seems like they've got fond memories of it. So what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Something obviously happened. This is Beavis and Butt-head.
We need the episode Beavis and Butt-head in A Crisis of Faith.
And it's not their crisis of faith. It's the other people at the church deciding what they should do to get rid of Beavis and Butt-head.
I like that even better. But it does also make me wonder, okay, obviously their parents had to have been involved, or at least their mothers were involved in that process of getting them to church. When did their mothers give up on them?
I have a theory on this.
Ooh, please tell.
It wasn't the mothers at all.
Ooh, okay.
When Beavis and Butt-head were really little and really needed supervision, they probably went to Grandma.
Oh, I like this theory.
And Grandma took them to church.
Okay, I like it. And it was Grandma who either died or gave up on them.
Yes.
Okay.
Which one? Either situation is an interesting story.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, when did Grandma die? Or at what point did she just say, I can't do it anymore? And she's obviously no longer involved if she's still alive. So,
yeah.
What made her give up on her grandkids? I'm talking as if there's one grandmother, but there could be two here. And what happened?
Beavis and Butt-head in Spawn of the Devil, which is what Grandma utters when they're like 5 and she gives up.
Maybe. Or to do an offshoot of the theory I had, what if the other churchgoers were going to kick Grandma out of the church if she didn't stop bringing Beavis and Butt-head? So she said, I choose church.
Well, and it also has been revealed that Beavis and Butt-head is set in Texas.
Yes.
What if it's Waco, Texas?
Are you implying Branch Davidians?
I'm not implying. I am straight out saying.
Controversy!
That they were part of that church, and then that's why they don't go to church anymore, because their church got run over by tanks and burned, and yeah.
Oh my God. I've never thought about Beavis and Butt-head being at Waco.
Well, they got out in time. They weren't there when stuff started to go down, because they were only there on Sundays, right?
I don't think that's how that cult worked.
Oh, well, okay. Still, it's fun to think about.
It is fun to think about. Now, proximity to Waco from Highland is a big question.
Sure.
Because I've always had the impression that Highland was more like kind of Western Texas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was my feeling too.
So, I don't know. But again, Beavis and Butt-head have had small encounters with cults.
This is true.
So is this something that maybe they were at least exposed to early in life that they subliminally are attracted to just because of familiarity, possibly? I don't know. We're opening up all sorts of questions and providing zero answers because we can't.
Okay, so to our fan fiction friends, if you can write that script, we will bring you on the show.
Oh my God, we'd love to.
Beavis and Butt-head in The Branch Davidians.
Oh my God. Some crazy person is going to do it and we will interview them.
Yes, please. So the last part of this that we wanted to explore was the fact that we do not get to peek behind the curtain at many of our side characters' lives outside of their interactions with Beavis and Butt-head. So, Shar, who were you thinking about when we put this together?
The very first side character, anyway, that came to mind was Principal McVicker. We know he's an absolute wreck in the school, and that's primarily due to Beavis and Butt-head. But that made me wonder, what is his life like away from where he works? I mean, does he have a home life? Because we've seen in an alternate future where he was married, had a wife, and several children, worked at Burger World, did not make much money, was not having a good time, essentially.
Right.
But in this timeline, the only other thing that I think we've seen, or the only time that I think we've seen McVicker outside of Highland High is when in Beavis and Butt-head Do America, he's getting spanked by a dominatrix in a hotel room. Now that implies a possible couple of things.
Right.
It could be that he's single and is just looking to get his kicks.
Right.
Or maybe he's unhappily married and is looking to get his kicks. And maybe is he just as miserable in his personal life as he is professionally? What do you think?
I think it's really hard to tell because I think he's one of those characters that, again, the less we see, the funnier it is. And I think that he probably does have a pretty ruinous home life. He really is not happy. And how much of that comes from his work? I think a pretty big chunk of it.
It makes me wonder, if Principal McVicker has just had a miserable life throughout. He had a lousy childhood. He was beaten a lot, tried to make something of himself, only to land this job where he is still nervous and miserable and unhappy, and absolutely nothing that he's wanted out of life has come true.
And let's not forget that there is another alternate McVicker, which is McVicker in It's a Miserable Life, where he is happy and leading the Christmas carols and not shaking and not doing all the things that make him the McVicker we know and love.
This is true.
So there's a chance that maybe his life would be okay if not for the fact that he has to deal with crazy 15-year-olds who drive him crazy, right? That's part of the appeal there.
What if he has the most loving, understanding wife? They couldn't have kids, so he became a principal and thought, these are going to be my kids, only to get this.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Indeed.
So speaking of faculty members at Highland High School, what about Buzzcut? He's another person who we really don't see much of outside of what he does at the school.
It occurred to me that we have seen Van Driesen very much outside of campus.
Yeah.
But Buzzcut exclusively is on campus. All we really know is that he's a former Marine and he teaches. What is this guy doing when he's not teaching? I mean, any thoughts on what this guy does outside of school?
I think the fact that we don't see him running into the boys outside of school is a hint that he populates places where children don't go. So he probably is, if he's not just at home, he's at the bar.
Ooh, at the bar?
Yeah, he's at the bar. He's at the VFW, you know? Him and Tom Anderson maybe occasionally have a beer together.
Oh, wow. That would be a really boring, but also cathartic for them, rant session. I have a hard time envisioning him at a bar, though, because he's physically fit.
This is true.
Which makes me wonder if maybe he does something sort of like the National Guard to stay involved in the military, where he does the one weekend a month kind of thing. Maybe he's trying to keep something like that up.
It's a good call.
But I kind of wonder if maybe he does some sort of variety of athletic activities or something of that nature.
It's true. That's also where Beavis and Butt-head will not be found.
True. True. Now, I do have one last side character that I want to bring up, and that is Todd.
Ooh, yes.
We know Beavis and Butt-head love him, and he likes to bully them back. And I have a question for you.
Okay.
Based on what we know about Todd, what do you think his life is like outside of his interaction with the boys? Does he have a good home life? Is it shitty?
I mean, I think it's shitty. I think he's a dirtball. And I don't know, whenever I see Todd pop up on the screen, I can smell him.
He reeks of booze, doesn't he?
Well, it's
cigarettes.
not just booze. It's booze, it's cigarettes, but it's also body odor. He strikes me as a guy who's never worn deodorant. He does it because he's lazy, but he tells everyone that he's just sharing his pheromones. Chicks dig it.
He does get chicks. Does it work?
Yeah, and then throw in a little bit of motor oil.
And then you got him, man.
And I really do think he was just kind of like born that way, but Todd obviously has significantly more intelligence. He's not a dumbass. He is calculating and kind of mean, but at the same time, he's not stupid. He really can get by in the world.
He can, which makes me think of two possibilities for Todd. One, he had a very shitty upbringing, but is super intelligent, was also left to his own devices a lot of times, like Beavis and Butt-head, but had the capacity to actually do some things and build some skills and what have you. Or he has a really good home life, but he has like a nice house and really good parents who will give him anything. They're total pushovers, and he just happens to be a real big asshole.
You know, I had never thought about it that way, but you might be right. I always envisioned his house a little bit looking like Harry Sachs's house. But you might be right on this one. And again, the fact that we don't know makes it so much fun. Then we only get to know what we see. And sometimes it's like lingerie. Sometimes the best thing is your imagination.
That's right.
So I think we just finished an episode.
Yes.
Which am so excited that we got to talk about this. And hopefully y'all are too. And what did we miss? What are these unwritten, unseen things that either you would like to see or that you appreciate not seeing yet?
Yeah, share your thoughts.
Hook us up, let us know, reach out to us on all of our platforms. So, Shar, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we're going to do something that's going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait to do this with you. We're going to do a retrospective on Beavis and Butt-head Do America, the first and biggest theatrical release that Beavis and Butt-head ever did.
Hell yes.
So we hope you'll tune in for that next week, y'all.
Yeah, Matitzi.